Bhagwani. I took him to the popular book depot at Grant Road to help him in selling books, but they told us they couldn't stock the books because they don't have much sales on religion. Then we went to another shop nearby, and the owner also regretted his inability to sell the books. Then he went to Sadhuvilla near Mahalakshmi temple, and we met the head of the temple there. He, of course, welcomed us. They have a library of their own. They stock religious books, so we approached them to please keep a set in their library. They are wealthy. They are a wealthy asrama, and yet he also expressed his inability. Bhaktivedanta Swami returned to Delhi, pursuing the usual avenues of bookselling and looking for whatever opportunity might arise. And to his surprise, he was contacted by the Ministry of External Affairs and informed his that his no objection certificate for going to the U.S. was ready. Since he had not instigated any proceedings for leaving his country, Bhaktivedanta Swami had to inquire from the military about what had happened. They showed him the statutory declaration form signed by Mr. Gopal Agarwal of Butler, Pennsylvania. Mr. Agarwal solemnly declared that he would bear the expenses of Bhaktivedanta Swami during his stay in the U.S. Srila Prabhupada, um, Srila Prabhupada, whatever the correspondence was there between the father and son, I did not know. I simply asked him, why don't you ask your son Gopal to sponsor? And now, after 3 or 4 months, the no objection certificate was sent from the Indian consulate in New York to me. He had already sponsored my arrival there for 1 month, and all of a sudden I got the paper. At his father's request, Gopal Agarwal had done as he had done for several other sadhus, none of whom had ever gone to America. It was just formality, something to satisfy his father. Gopal had requested a form from the Indian consulate in New York, obtained a statement from his employer certifying his monthly salary, gotten a letter from his bank showing his balance as of April 1965, and had the form notarized. It had been stamped and approved in New York and sent to Delhi. Now Bhaktivedanta Swami had a sponsor, but he still needed a passport, visa, P form, and travel fare. The passport was not very difficult to obtain. Krishna Pandit helped, and by June 10th he had his passport. Carefully he pinned in his address at the Radha Krishna temple in Chipwada, and wrote his father's name, Guadamohan D. He asked Krishna Pandit also to pay for his going abroad, but Krishna Pandit refused, thinking it against Hindu principles for a sadhu to go abroad and also very expensive. With his passport and sponsorship papers, Bhaktivedanta Swami went to Bombay, not to sell books or raise funds for printing. He wanted a ticket for America. Again, he tried approaching Sumati Mararji. He showed his sponsorship papers to her secretary, Mr. Choksi, who was impressed and who went to to Miss Maraji on his behalf. The Swami from Vrindavana is back, he told her. He has published his book on your donation. He has a sponsor and he wants to go to America. He wants you to send him on a Scindia ship. Mr. Miss Maraji said no. The Swamiji was too old to go to the United States and expect to accomplish anything. As Mr. Choksi conveyed to him Miss Maraji's words, Bhaktivedanta Swami listened disapprovingly. She wanted him to stay in India and complete the Srimad Bhagavatam. Why go to the United States? Finish the job here. But Bhaktivedanta Swami was fixed on going. He told Mr. Choksi that he should convince Miss Maraji. He coached Mr. Choksi on what he should say. I find this gentleman very inspired to go to the United States and preach something in the people there. But when he told Miss Maraji, she again said no. The Swamiji was not healthy. It would it would be too cold there. He might not be able to come back, and she doubted whether he would be able to accomplish much there. People in America were not so cooperative, and they would probably not listen to him. Exasperated, Mr. Chokshi Exasperated with Mr. Choksi's ineffectiveness, Bhaktivedanta Swami demanded a personal interview. It was granted, and a gray-haired, determined Bhaktivedanta Swami presented his emphatic request. Please give me one ticket. Sumati Miraji was concerned. Swamiji, you are so old. You are taking this responsibility. Do you think it at all right? No, he reassured her, lifting his hand as if to reassure a doubting daughter. It is all right. But do you know what my secretaries think? They say Swamiji is going to die there. Bhaktivedanta Bhaktivedanta made a face as if to dismiss a foolish rumor. Again, he insisted that she give him a ticket. All right, she said. Get your P form and I will make an arrangement to send you by our ship. Bhaktivedanta Swami smiled brilliantly and happily left her offices, past her amazed and skeptical clerks. A P form, another necessity for an Indian national who wants to leave the country, is a certificate given by the State Bank of India certifying that the person has no excessive debts in India and is cleared by the banks. That would take a while to obtain, and he also did not yet have a U.S. visa. He needed to pursue these government permissions in Bombay, but he had no place to stay, so Miss Maraji agreed to let him reside in the Scindia colony, a compound of apartments of employees for the Scindia company. He stayed in a small, unfurnished apartment with only his trunk and typewriter. The recent Scindia employees all knew that Miss Maraji was sending him to the West, and some of them became interested in his case. They were impressed, for although he was so old, he was going abroad to preach. He was a special sadhu, a scholar. They heard from him how he was taking hundreds of copies of his books with him, but no money. He became a celebrity at the Scindia colony. Various families brought him rice, sabji, and fruit. They brought so much that he could not eat it all. And he mentioned this to Mr. Choksi. Just accept it and distribute, Mr. Choksi advised. Bhaktivedanta Swami then began giving remnants of his food to the children. Some of the older residents gathered to hear him as he read and spoke from Srimad Bhagavatam. Mr. Vasavada, the chief cashier of Scindia, was particularly impressed and came regularly to learn from the sadhu. Mr. Vasavada obtained copies of Bhaktivedanta Swami's books and read them in his home. Bhaktivedanta Swami's apartment shared a roofed-in veranda with Mr. Nagarajan, a Scindia's office worker, and his wife, Miss Nagarajan. Every time when I passed that way, he used to be writing or chanting. I would ask him, Swamiji, what are you writing? He used to sit near the window and one after another was translating the Sanskrit. He gave me two books and said, Child, if you read this book, you will understand. We would have discourses in the house, and 4 or 5 Gujarati ladies used to come. At one of these discourses, he told one lady that those who wear their hair parted on the side, that is not a good idea. Every Indian lady should have their parted in the center. They were very fond of listening and very keen to hear his discourse.